Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at Castello Methoni. This is put out by Mandoo Games. The designer is Leo Colovini and the artwork is by Vincent Dutrait. So the game looks great. The mechanics are pretty simple. You're simply trying to have the largest domains and the most domains by the end of the game. That's going to give you a good chance of winning. You also want to have a good handle on your finances as well, because money is points at the end of the game as well. So there you have it. Let's get down to the table. We'll check it out. We'll see how it works, and we'll come back with some final thoughts in just a few moments. Let's hit it. So here I have a 5-player game of Castello Methoni set up for you, and basically this is an area enclosure game, I guess you could call it, where you're going to be trying to score off different provinces. You're also going to be getting points for example here, the person with the largest enclosure is going to be getting 10 points, second largest 5 points. For as many of these towers that you have out, which denote which provinces you control, you're going to be getting points for those. If you only have one out, you'll get 1. If you have 2 out, you get 3, and so forth and so on. You're also going to have these special scoring cards that you're going to have at the beginning of the game handed out to you. And basically what this means is it scores you 1 point for every land inside your controlled provinces that match one of these 3 different land types on the card. So that's another way that you'll get points. And then finally, points are, money is points at the end of the game at the rate of 1 for 1. So on your turn, you're going to be able to play 1 or 2 cards from your hand. So your hand is these different land type cards, which is one type of card that you'll have in your hand. And then you'll also have market cards in your hand as well. Market cards have a special usage, and we'll talk about that in just a few moments. But on your turn, you're going to be able to play 1 or 2 cards and take actions for those cards that you played. For example, you can build with a card, which means that if I play this card out here like this, I can choose one of these regions over here and place a wall along one of the borders on that region. So if I wanted to place the wall right here, I absolutely could. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place one of my house cubes on one side of the wall. So maybe I want to try to control this market area right here. So I'll put my house on the inside of the wall, and then on the outside of the wall, I have to pick somebody to my left or my right and use one of theirs. So I'll take one of Orange's cubes and place it out here on the outside of the wall. So I can play just 1 card and be done, or I can choose to play up to a second card and do that. So if I wanted to, I could place a second card here and place another wall down. Now, a market card has a dual purpose. It can either be used to place a wall along the coast like this. Doesn't matter what type of land is in there. This one will be able to place on any of the coastlines. You can also, by the way, if I wanted to use this card to place right here, I could have done that because it matches the land area that's there. But market cards allow you to play along the coastline, or it also allows you to gain $2 by trading, and we'll talk about this more later, for activated markets. After I've played 2 cards, I will put them over here in the discard pile, and then I'll draw 2 like this, and I'll be done. I would have placed another one here, but since the coastline is out here, you never place another house out here on the coast. You only place yours on the land that you chose to build next to. So after everybody else has taken a turn, it comes back to this, and this is the state of the board at the beginning of my turn. So I'm going to actually try to close off my first province here, and I'm going to do so by first of all playing a card, and that allows me to place a wall on one of these provinces here. I'm going to go ahead and close this off. Now, when I claim a domain or a province here, I am going to be able to, first of all, I have to pay in order to corner that off, and I have to pay 1 ducat for 1, 2, 3 for each land that's there. So I've got to pay 3 ducats, and I'll get 2 back, for each of the lands that are in here. Then I also have to pay 1 ducat per house of another owner that's in there. So I'd have to give 1 ducat to this player over here like that. And then we upgrade any of the houses that are there to villas. So if there are 3 houses in the domain, then they will come out, and that becomes a villa for me. Finally, the person who closed off this area is able to place one of their towers in the domain, denoting that they control it. And if there are any markets in there, they will be able to take that ducat that's on the market and add it to their tableau. Now this has activated a market, so now anybody can trade with the market on their turn, and we'll talk about that in just a few moments. So with my first action, I was able to close this off. I paid everything that I needed to, and I can now take a second action. If I had another wheat field card, I could trade, which means that I'll play the card down, and then I'll take 2 ducats from the bank to denote trading with that activated market. But since I don't have another one of those land types in my hand, I'm kind of stuck. So I can play somewhere else if I want to. So maybe I want to come down here in this area a little bit. I'll play that and place another wall down there, and I'll place one of my houses in that area as well. That's the end of my turn. And finally, the last thing that you can do during the course of your turn is annex a neighboring domain. So on Orange's turn here, they're going to, first of all, their first action is going to be playing a market card. Now, what a market card will allow them to do is trade with the market. That gets them 2 ducats from the bank because they traded with this market. You can do that. He could have also played this card in order to trade with that, but he's going to use this card to build, and he's going to build right here. Now, in order to do that, he has created a domain here, which means that he has to pay 1 ducat each for both of those things. He would also have to pay, as before, any other players' houses that are in here. There aren't any, so he doesn't have to pay anything there. But these 3 houses of his will be converted into a villa, and then he will also place his tower there, denoting that he controls that. Now, once you have done that, you can annex a neighboring domain if you wish, but it's kind of expensive. You have to pay 2 ducats per land area that's there. You also have to pay $1 for a house, and you also have to pay $5 for villas that are also there. So we have 2, 4, 6, 7, and then 5 is 12. Well, he just happens to have exactly 12 bucks, and so what that will do is that will remove this wall, and it will also remove this tower, giving it back to the person, because there can only be 1 tower in each domain. And so now he has annexed this domain here, and this goes back to the bank like that. So that's generally how this game continues to play, with people building walls until these walls are gone. Now, once the last wall has been taken here, at the end of that player's turn in which the last wall was taken, the game will end, and then everybody counts up points. You'll get 3 points for each land within your domains that you control. Then you'll also get 1 point, as I said earlier, for the gold that is in your tableau. You'll get 1 point each for matching land tiles on your secret objective card. You'll also get points that are here, the largest domain, second largest domain, and any towers that you have out there. And then whoever has the most points is the winner. So that's about that for Castello Methoni. This is a pretty interesting game, although I think it might be a little bit too convoluted in certain areas. So I did enjoy the game, but it's not too high up on the list. But with that having been said, let's go ahead and get to my pros and cons. So the first pro is kind of right in your face, and that is the artwork and graphic design of the cards and of the board and of the box and all of that kind of stuff. It really looks good. Vincent Dutrait is one of my favorite artists in the board gaming industry, and so when his artwork is on something, I'm immediately interested. Sometimes it turns out that they don't, in my opinion at least, give enough usage to his artwork. It was kind of on the box only, and then on the inside it's underutilized, I'll put it that way. Now that's not really the case here. His artwork is used in throughout all of this, but I don't really like his landscapes as much as I do his people artwork, if I can put it that way. His human artwork for me, and animals and those kinds of things, are much better than just objects. Don't get me wrong, I don't think this is ugly by any stretch of the means. I still think it's a very beautiful game. It's just not the kind of Vincent Dutrait artwork that I enjoy most. So there you have that. I still do think it's a huge pro for the game. Anybody who's able to get Vincent Dutrait and his artwork is going to make the game pop. That's absolutely sure. So this is definitely a pro. I think it looks great, and I think it helps the game more than, infinitely more than it hurts it. My second pro is that the game plays so easily and quickly. There aren't a whole lot of rules in the game, and so because of that, it's very simple to teach and it's very simple to pick up. But that's just on the surface. Once you get beneath, there's a lot of other things going on that you have to keep track of and that you have to take account of in order to play well. But how to play and teaching how to play is very simple, very straightforward, and I like it when games do that. They provide very simple, streamlined rules, but once you get into playing the game, you see a lot of the different nuances that those simple rules have lying underneath them. And my third pro for the game is quite simply that it does play quickly. It's simple to teach, it's simple to play, but it also plays very fast as well. You're rarely, I think, going to have a game that takes longer than an hour. More often, it's probably going to take around 45 minutes, and I like it. That's a good sweet spot for games of this nature. So I like the fact that it doesn't take a whole lot of time. It doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome. As a matter of fact, it might end a little prematurely, depending on how you're doing within the game. That's how it feels like, you're a little bit behind and it ends before you really want it to end. So that's a good thing, I think. If a game ends before you want it to, you have to kind of prepare yourself for that on the next one, but at least you're not sitting there thinking, when is this going to end? And it doesn't overstay its welcome. So I like that. So my first con of the game is that I think that this is a fairly mean game being masked by a very pleasant visage, if that makes any sense to you. This looks like a family weight, just place your pieces out there, make it look pretty type of game, but it is actually a really cutthroat game, especially if people have enough money to annex domains. You can be sitting pretty on your turn, and by the time it comes around to your turn again, you're devastated. And that's just how this game is. So I think my first con with the game is simply that it's a lot meaner than it actually looks. So some people might be saying, well, that's a plus. Well, for me, I kind of want a game to be kind of what it looks like. As long as it doesn't stray too far away from that, I'm fine. But this one is like, oh, look, you thought I was a nice, friendly, family, fun game. Nope. This is a mean, economical game, and if you can't efficiently handle your cash, you're gonna lose. And that's not really fun for me. And my second con really kind of plays off of my first con there, because this is a very much an economical game where you have to pinch a penny here and pinch a penny there so that you can, boom, really stab somebody in the back and take their domain right out from underneath their feet. And I don't think that's very fun. What I'm saying here is that you're playing along and the game plays at a very fast clip, and then somebody takes over a domain and it's like, everything stops. Okay, I have to pay for 1, 2, 3, and there's this accounting session that goes on, making sure that everybody pays for whatever they're supposed to pay for. And then if they want to annex another domain, oh boy, that's more accounting, more addition, more all of this math that has to go on, and it just kind of brings the entire cadence of the game to a screeching halt. And that was problematic to me, because what I thought was going to be, and again, I know it's my perception, so don't get me wrong, what I thought was going to be a very fast, not necessarily friendly, but at least family area control type of game where you're trying to close off different parts of the thing for yourself, became much more of an economically driven game. and there was a lot of accounting that had to go on, and it just made the whole cadence of the game just be blown out of the water. So that's why it's a con for me. So really, that's about it for Castello Methoni. I did not dislike the game. I think it's a good game. You just have to know what you're getting into on the onset before you get into it, because you could go into this thinking, oh, look, happy fun, and no, it's not. It's really kind of cutthroat. So as long as you know that going in, I think you'll have a little bit more of an enjoyment of it than if you go into it expecting something else. So with that having been said, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10 because I did enjoy the game. I think it's great. I think it's kind of a middle of the road game for me, but the artwork makes it look better, which rises it for me that extra point to a 6 out of 10. So I did enjoy it. It looks great on the table. It's got good components, but gameplay was a little bit of a letdown. So 6 out of 10 for me. Thank you for joining me. I certainly appreciate it. Go check out Castello Methoni, and we'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.